Friends, in this video we are going to cover how to create the Amazon EC2 Linux instance and connect using SSH. That's what we are going to cover in this video. So before we go into the actual instance launch, let's quickly talk about the Amazon EC2 console page, and let's understand a little bit more about that. So after anybody log in into the account, this is the very first page we will get in the console. This is a console page. So here you see the left corner, you see the orange cube. This cube is like a home page. Let's say I clicked on some services, I wanted to go back, you can just go back to the cube. So that's like a home page. And here AWS, here you can create the resource groups. Basically you can create multiple groups and keeps your services or any instances within the group. For example, hey, I'm using this account for two different purpose. I mean, one application for one business, another application for another business. You can create a two different group and keep it separate. That's the idea. Services. The services is nothing but the home page. Whatever we see, the same thing you see in the services also in a listed format. Exactly the same. Okay. And the services, look at these services. These are all the different types of services Amazon offers with respect to Amazon web services. And if you see this, there are services. All these services are categorized in a proper way: compute, storage, database, networking, analytics, enterprise applications. So if for example I want to launch an instance, this will be under that service is under compute, because it's like a computer server, so it's a EC2. That's what we are going to learn today. Let's say I'm looking for a database services. You can go here, database, and that's how it is categorized. Anyhow, today we are going to see how we are going to work only on EC2 service. What is EC2? Elastic Compute Cloud. Uh, okay, before we launch, let's cover a couple of more things. This is the kind of, when you log in, this is your user ID or account number, whatever. And this is very important. This is something I would like to talk. This is the region. Amazon as is infrastructure in these many regions, basically these many geographical location where their infrastructure is exist. It's like a data center exist. Okay, so when you launch an instance, ensure to pick the appropriate region for your services. For example, my business is at, let's say, California. I would prefer to launch my instances or any services in US West Northern California, so that when I trying to connect to these services over the network or the internet, it will be pretty fast. I don't want to launch one in Sydney and create multiple hops to connect to the services. Okay, I hope you got that. So let's say your business is somewhere in Singapore or Taiwan. I would say you need to choose this region to launch your services. So it will be choose your nearest region. In that way, nearest geographical location. In that way, things will be pretty faster when you're trying to connect to the services. That's the idea. Okay, so for this demo I'm going to choose US East Northern Virginia. And support, here support center, you can create cases in case of any issues or technical support. You can call Amazon, and they have various plans like business, enterprise. They have multiple plans. If you click, you will understand that. Forums, documents, trainings, all the additional links where you will get tons of documents, all very good document. You can go through for any references or services details. That's it. Let's go to our actual video. The purpose of this video is build the launch on an EC2 instance, right? Let's go and work on that one. So click on EC2. Okay, right now I don't have any instance, 0 instances running, so I'm going to launch one. Launch instance. When you launch instance, it is, think about it. Okay, I bought a new server in my data center or for my office. Before I build, what I need, the first thing I need to decide which operating system I wanted to load on that server. So these are all the operating systems. Amazon Linux, this is Amazon proprietary Linux operating system. Like Red Hat, it's Amazon Linux. Good thing is Amazon Linux is pretty much similar like Red Hat or CentOS. You don't find much difference. I like this. And Red Hat, SUSE, and Ubuntu. This is the four flavors of Linux uh, operating systems supported by Amazon. Other than these four flavors, if you go and click on AWS Marketplace, you can find CentOS on some other Debian OS, all those things you can find it here. Still, you can use those images and launch an instance. Um, Also, there are lots of Windows templates. You can pick that also. Okay, this is pretty much the latest one. So Amazon call this as AMI. What it means is Amazon Machine Image. It is like a template. This is like image already, set of uh, kind of the package, and all the predefined images built and readily available for you to pick and install the server like a CD. Think about it. So for the demo, I'm gonna pick this one, Amazon Linux. Just go and say select. Step 2, of course, I need to choose the type of instance, what kind of server I want to load the operating system. So for a demo purpose, I'm gonna choose T2 Micro. The only reason it is a free tier. What it mean, when you sign up an account with Amazon for 1 year, you can run T2 Micro instance for 1 year absolutely free. Uh, what it mean? Just one instance for 1 year, 750 hours per month. That's up to 12 months. So what if I run two numbers of T2 Micro? It means if you run 24 hours a day every time, then two instance, only half year you are eligible for free. After 6 months, you will end up paying. If I run 12 instance, it means only 1 month. After that, you will end up paying. Okay, of course, you got it. So this is the one I'm going to choose. This is a very basic server type virtual machine. It comes with 1 vCPU, 1 GB memory, and low moderate network performance instance. Let's talk about few things here. Types of There are lots of types of Amazon instance, right? It is categorized in this way: general purpose instance, all T2 and M4, M3. These are all M4, M3. These types are all general purpose. What do you mean by general purpose? It is like, although you have 40 CPU, 160 GB memory, I the underlying hardware host will be, one kind, um, uh, it is not designed for high computational or high reads and writes. This is for general application. I want to build web server, simple application server. This is a good choice. Let's say, hey, my application is, CPU intensive. It's more CPU bound. Okay, go for anything C4 or C3 category. This is all, basically the hardware is, in such a way which can takes care of better CPU handling. What is the difference? As I mentioned, look at here. M3 large got a 2 CPU, C4 large got 2 CPU, but the number is 2, but it is not the same CPU. When you pick M3, the hardware may be different, the type of CPU what you're going to get is different, the different speed and gigahertz. And C4 maybe the different hardware, like compare, Intel AMD and Intel, the latest one, i7 or whatever, i7 i5 core. So both are different, right? Although it is one CPU, both are not same. AMD is something old and this something like that. They pick, this, it's a different hardware altogether. Okay, so third, so we talked about general purpose, we talked about compute optimized, and third one is GPU instance. Hey, I have an application. This is mostly like, movie graphical related applications. So use GPU. GPU is, graphical processing unit. The CPU what you're gonna get, it will support better. Uh, it will be good for, any kind of, graphical use, graphical application type, instances. Okay, so then memory. Hey, my server is completely memory uh, intensive. It's like a big database. Then use this R3 or R3X, 8X, whatever. Or it's like WhatsApp or Facebook. It's like more reads and writes, lots of uploads, downloads. So many reads and writes the disk level. Then you can choose the storage optimized also, like D series or I series. Basically, you'll get a lot of SSDs and good high-end backbone network connections and everything. So this is pretty much about the types of instance. But today for the demo, I'm gonna choose T2 Micro. Okay, so step one, we chose the OS. Step two, we just chosen the type of instance. Then go to the step three. You can simply save a review and launch. I don't want to do that. I wanted to go configure instance details. This is the detail procedure. That way we learn a bit more in depth of launching an instance. Okay, so step three, configure instance detail. What is configure instance detail is, hey, I'm going to launch, when I launch an instance, I want to launch like 10 instance of same configuration. Just pick 10 or 100 or whatever. You don't have to redo every time. One time you can launch, spin up, multiple instance, one shot. Okay, I'm just going to do one. And purchasing option, there are multiple purchasing options. We are not going to talk about that. We'll talk later. Network, this is important. By default, when you launch an instance, you will be placed in one VPC. What is VPC? Virtual Private Cloud. It's like a VLAN. Okay, Amazon will keep your instance in a kind of virtual network, so only you can access something like that. Whenever you launch any instance, all those instances you can place in that network, so that those instances can talk to each other in a private network. That's the idea. Okay, so when you choose a default VPC, it comes with 172.31.0.0 subnet. I don't want this subnet. I want to create myself and assign 10.0.0 subnet or 192.0.1 whatever subnet, class A, class B, class C, whatever you want to pick. Of course, you can create yourself and do. But anyhow, this video, we are just gonna use the default one. We'll talk about the VPC in the next video. And this is another important subnet. Okay, although I chose a network, but still remember, we talked about the region, the geographic location. I chose Northern Virginia, but still within the Northern Virginia region, Amazon has got 4 availability zones. What it means is, within that region they have 4 different location. The infrastructure is, data center is running. All those 4 locations are tightly interconnected with a very high bandwidth you know network. So why it is so important? It is really important because, let's say I am building an application. It's my application design is in such a way. I have uh, couple of test environment, development environment, pre-production, production, and this is a kind of multiple environment. I don't really want to keep everything in one availability zone. Basically, I don't want to build everything in one data center. So good thing, smart way is spread across multiple availability zone. In that way, any disaster or any kind of data center power issue or anything happen, still your one of the services will be available. That's a good idea to spread your services across multiple locations. But anyhow, for this demo, I'm just going to choose one, because it's just one server. I'm just going to choose one availability zone. Okay, coming back to this one, assign IP address. Auto assign public IP address. What it means, whenever I launch an instance, automatically one IP will be assigned, public IP will be assigned. If you don't want, you can say disable. Okay, if I disable, how do I connect? So definitely I need one public IP, so make it enable. But why do we need to disable? Yeah, there are some situation we don't want to expose our instance in the public IP. Um, of course, if you build database, we don't want to expose to public, right? If it's a web server, it makes sense. So in those scenarios, we can keep database servers with only internal IP, no external public IP. So your web server will talk to database server, not nobody can directly connect to the database server over the internet. Only web server will talk to the database server. That's the purpose. Okay, anyhow, for today, for this server, I'm just saying, I want one public IP, and IAM role we'll talk about later. Shutdown behavior. Whenever I shut down the server, it will go to stop state. That's the default behavior. That's what I want. Leave it. If you want, you can terminate. What it mean? Hey, whenever I say shut down, it means I don't want this server anymore. Terminate it. That's what it means. Delete it. Anyhow, I wanted to just stop it. I don't want to terminate. Enable termination protection. I would definitely enable this. If you are building any critical application instance, please turn on this one. This is nothing but a double protection. There is a chance accidentally anybody if terminate the instance. Because of this, it will tell you, hey, your instance is enabled with termination protection. You cannot terminate it. If you want to terminate, first go and disable the protection and then come back. So it's like it will give you a second chance to think about whether really you wanted to terminate or not. So it's a good one. And monitoring, if you want to monitor, you can enable the monitoring here. Of course, additional charges applies. What it monitor? Your instance CPU, network input and output traffic detail, and disk reads and writes, all those parameters it will monitor. We'll talk about that later. I don't want to monitor now. The last thing, tenancy. What it means is of course our instance will be placed in a default shared tenancy, which means when I launch an instance, that is the virtual machine going to be placed on hardware, one single hardware. On the same hardware there will be lots of other customers also going to be on the same hardware. It's like we are all sharing on the same box. Is it really secure? Yes, it's absolutely secured. Amazon takes care of all those. um, Now my company policy, I don't want to be in a shared. Okay, you can go for a dedicated. Of course there is additional charges. For a demo I'm just going for a shared. Network, by default you get one NIC card, one Ethernet. It assigned automatically with the public IP because we chose there. If you want to add additional NIC card, you can add. For the demo just one is enough. And go to next step 4, which is add storage. Default you get 8 GB for a OS operating system. It's a EBS volume. What is EBS? Is elastic block storage. It's a fantastic thing. It is like a SAN storage. It is like a LUN. You can attach, detach, take a snapshot. You can play with these LUNs. It's very flexible. There are multiple types. So let's say, hey, I don't want 8 GB for my application. I want like 100 GB. No problem. We can just increase the size at the time of launch. So default is 8. For the demo 8 GB is enough. And there are a couple of types of EBS volumes. You get general purpose, provisioned IOPS, magnetic is very low performance. Disk, general purpose is kind of medium performance. Basically general purpose, in a general purpose SSD, for every GB you will get 3 IOPS. That's baseline. What does it mean? 3 IO per second. 3 reads and 3 writes per second is allowed per GB. So since I chose 8 GB, 8 into 8 multiplied by 3, 24 IOPS, 24 reads and writes I can do per second. Let's say, hey, my application, I want 8 GB, but I want 200 IOPS. Okay, go for provisioned IOP, where you can decide how many number of IOPS you want. So 200 IOPS, 8 GB. So or 24 GB with 3000 IOPS, whatever you want, you can just choose it. But it is very costly compared to magnetic and SSD. But for the demo I'm just going for general purpose SSD. And on another thing, hey, at the time of launch, I wanted to segregate my application and operating system in a different disk. That's a good idea. That's a one I would always recommend. So for application, hey, okay, you can add a disk, additional EBS volumes, and you can simply say I want 50 GB for my application, and I want another 100 GB for another application. So all you can add 100 GB, 200 GB, whatever, up to 16 GB you can go. I think for EBS will support up to 16 TB. I'm sorry, not GB. Up to 16 terabyte you can go. So 1 GB to 16 GB you can go. And for the demo, I don't want to create this many disks. All these EBS volume, there is additional charge applies. um, so these volumes are nothing but like traditionally when we attach a disk, it's like a block disk. When you, after your OS build is done, you can see these additional volumes as drives under like SDB, SDC under F disk. And you can create your own file systems partitions, or you can put that under LVM. You can create a PV and then put it in volume group and create LVs and file systems. It's the same, the however you do on the regular Linux server, the same thing you can do here also. So let me delete everything. I just won't go for 8 GB root volume. That's enough for me. Then step number 5, tag instance. What is tag instance? It's like label. I think like in data center you just mounted one rack to one server. Okay, you are gonna label it. Okay, so that next time when you come, what is this server is for. This is a demo Linux server. Okay, demo Linux server. That's my demo server. Okay, I'm just labeling. This is not the server host name. Inside the operating system you will not see. This is kind of a sticker, like a label on top of your instance. Okay, and step number 6, security group. This is an awesome thing in AWS. Being a Linux guy, you guys know there is something called IP table net filter in Linux operating system, right? When you turn on those service, what it does, you can allow or deny specific IP, specific port, uh, you know um, uh, or reject or allow. All you can do. That's what IP tables does, right? That's within the operating system, inside the operating system. So the security group is doing this, does exactly the same function, but it stay outside the instance. What it means is this is independent to the instance. So let me create one new security group. Create a new security group saying that demo security group. Okay, so by default it added SSH TCP port 22 anywhere. What it means is anybody from anywhere, from any IP can connect to my instance by using SSH port number 22. This looks good, but this is not really secured. I don't want anybody to connect to my server using port 22. Although I'm not sharing my private key or a password, but still there is a chance a denial of attack service can happen. It can impact my server, so I don't want to give. The best thing I would suggest is always try to give my IP. Okay, so that's your laptop IP. You don't want to give for everybody. Then why do I when do we need everybody? For example, this is a server I'm building for HTTP, my web server, so port 80. That it is it makes sense to give to everybody. Anybody in the world can connect to my web server to browse. That's fine. But for SSH, it's for admin purpose. Only me. Okay, only me. In my team I have 5 people. How do I give for 5 different IP? Simply add a rule, add one more time SSH, and ask your colleague IP. Hey, what's your IP? Ask him to just go to the Google and type what is my IP. It will tell your NAT IP, the gateway public IP, from your office or from your home, whatever you're going, that IP will just come. Just you can go to the Google and type what is my IP. It will list your IP. Just type your IP here. Okay, so like that you can add multiple rules. This is awesome, right? So this is a security group. The good thing with this security group, once you create, you can attach this security group to your any number of instance. You don't have to create this multiple time. One time once you create, tomorrow if I launch one more EC2 instance, we can simply attach the same security group. Okay, and let's say tomorrow this instance, hey, I wanted to add my custom application, I want to allow port number 5000. No problem, just say custom TCP port number 5000 and allow to whoever you want, you can allow. Okay, my IP or custom IP, so it's very flexible. So this is what security group. Okay, and say review, and so we are done, like 6 steps we are done, and review and launch. So it's just reviewing. We chose Amazon Linux, we chose T2 Micro, which is a free tier. We created our own security group to allow only port number 80 and 22. And there are some instance details. We picked the VPC. We said termination protection enabled. We said automatically get the public IP, and we picked 8 GB internal disk, and we tagged the server name. We labeled the server name as this one. That's it. Just say launch. One last thing, when you launch, so far we never created any password. So this in Amazon we never we don't connect using the password. At the time of launch, anytime whenever you launch an instance, at the end of the launch process, you will have an option to create a SSH Keypair. This is a kind of public and private key pair. Public key is built in on your instance. The private key is the one it will allow you to download to your local laptop. By using the private key, you are going to connect to your instance. So this is very important. It is like your key. It is like your password file. Very critical. Please don't share it to anybody. Don't misplace also. If you lose this key, regaining or recovering the key, or fixing this, it's really a difficult process. It's like there is a way to regenerate the key, but it's not an easy step. It needs an outage of your server. It needs lots of root disk attached, detach, and a lot of steps you need to follow. We'll talk about that in later videos, but point is don't lose your SSH keypad. This is very important. Please don't share it to anybody also. It's keep it very confidentially in your laptop. Okay, so I'm gonna create a new key pair. The new key pair is like mic SSH key. That's it. Okay, so say download key pair. This key will be downloaded into my laptop. That's fine. Say launch instance. All set, go. The instance is launching now, and go here and click on view instance. You will see the instance is coming on. This is my old instance. I'm sorry, I created one and terminated before. This is the down is the one I'm launching now. It is in a pending state, initializing. It's kind of loading the OS. It's coming up. It will take a couple of minutes to come in the running state. And this is remember we tagged the instance, the label, whatever we did, this is the one, and this is my old one. I don't want to keep it. Okay, so this is the new one I launched now, and this is your instance ID, unique number. Whenever you launch one instance, this is the number you get. It's like a mission number. If you have any problems or any support you need, when you open a case with Amazon, you just tell them, hey, this is my instance ID, so that they can pull at their end and help you better way. Okay, good. My instance is in a running state now. The moment it turns into running state, I got an IP address, public IP. This is one important thing. I got a public IP and also DNS name. You can connect either using the DNS or the public IP, either way. But this is the regular public IP. So whenever I stop and start the instance, let me repeat again, whenever I stop and start the instance, this public IP will get changed. The reboot will not change. Stop and start, this IP will change. Oh my god, I don't want to lose my public IP because I'm going to reserve this public IP with some host name for some domain name. I don't want this to be changed. What I can do, okay, if you want one static reserved public IP, go and create elastic IP. This is elastic IP. um, Same public IP, it is like one kind of static public IP reserved to your account. So we'll talk about it later. Here there is a button here. If you go click here, you can create one elastic IP. It's additional charge because you are reserving one public IP for your account forever. So for that IP, whenever you stop or start, it will be assigned to your account. You can attach between any number of instance, any number of interface. It's so flexible, like your storage, right? You can attach and detach. It will be always with you. So if you are running any web server, critical server, I would recommend to use the EIP, not the regular public IP, because keep changing, right? It's frustrating. So for demo, I am okay. Anyhow, I'm gonna terminate this. So this public IP is fine. So everything is good. Now, how do we connect? To connect, this is the button. Just click connect. This says how to connect. I'm using Mac terminal. I mean MacBook. In the MacBook, I have a terminal. I don't need a putty or to connect. By using the terminal, I can connect. So remember, I downloaded the file. So let me see, where is my download. My file, yeah. See, the one I download, Mike SSH key. This is the file. This is my private key. It came here. First thing, this file is .text. I wanted to convert this as Mike SSH key .pem, not .text. I don't know why it came like .text. I want to remove .text. How do I do? Move Mike to .pem. So it is like simple pem file. Okay, this is the key. And second thing, look at this permission. This is read write by user, read by group, and read by others. So it is really mandatory. This file should be readable only by user. So make it chmod 400, not by anybody. So that's the steps explained here. So this is perfect. Now my key is so secured, only readable by me, not by others. So this is so secured. Okay, so now ensure wherever you downloaded the key, go to that location and ensure your key is there. Then simply copy this command. What this command mean? SSH, by using my key, whatever the key I downloaded, connect to my public IP using the user EC2-user. This is the default user created by Amazon. By using this user, we are going to connect. Okay, SSH I my PEM file, that's my private key in my laptop, and user is EC2 user, and that's my public IP what I got here. So you don't, we got the key. Just simply uh, go to your terminal and do this is my key already in my laptop. So I copied the command from here, and then go to your terminal and just paste the command, hit enter. So here you go, you connected, and this is my server. Do df-h, you see I logged in as the user called EC2 user. How do I become a root user? It's very simple. EC2 user by default has a sudo root privilege. If you do sudo su, you are a root. So no ID or root user. You are a root admin, can do whatever you want. And lsblk, this command will tell you how many hard disk you have. I just added one hard disk and everything looks good to me. So that's it. This is the way to connect. But if you use the Windows laptop, how you need to download putty and putty gen. There are two tools. The reason is the key whatever you downloaded, that comes with the format .pem. You may have the putty, usually the putty need the format in ppk file. That's another format of SSH key, private key. So by using the putty gen, you can load your PEM file and generate the new key format, like PPK file format, and then using putty you can connect the same way. Unfortunately, I don't have a Windows laptop to help you. Probably I'll try to capture one video and send that, upload that shortly. So, but this is so easy if you are using any Linux server or Mac terminal to connect using SSH. Great. Thanks for watching this video. Have a great day. Bye bye.